All right, guys, let's get started. Welcome to our webinar today. My name is Brad Williams, Managing Partner at Trade Ideas, and I'm really excited to show you our technology as it lives inside of eSignal. Let's get some of the housekeeping out of the way first. We are not an investment advisory firm. We're a software development, a technology firm in the financial services, so we're not an investment advisor. Any symbols that I talk about today should not be construed as investment advice. Rather, this is for educational purposes only. So Trade Ideas, we consider ourselves a leader in market data analytics, in idea generation. Since 2003, we've been helping traders find opportunities in real time through the market. And only in the last several months have we been integrated inside of the eSignal community, allowing for complete integration. When you click on a symbol inside of a Trade Ideas window, it updates all the analytics inside of eSignal. But we have some other partners that we have been able to attain in that 13-year period that we've been doing business. E-Trade, Scottrade, Lightspeed. These are some of our partners, and you'll find different iterations of our software inside of their offerings as well. So really at the core, this is a very short PowerPoint. It's about a 30-minute presentation. The PowerPoint's only about 5 minutes. But then we're going to really get into the meat of the software and how it can help you in your trading day. But let me tell you a little bit about Trade Ideas and what makes us special in being able to help you find these great opportunities throughout the day. So Trade Ideas is a very unique piece of technology because we're connected directly to the exchanges and all the various market data sources, both structured and unstructured data. And we bring in this data and we bring it into a database and we create statistical baselines on every single stock on every single time frame. And really what that allows us to do is identify the unusual opportunities that exist throughout the day, both on price and volume, and then allowing you to add additional filtering in there, such as fundamental data and information such as that. But in the process of creating these statistical baselines, we create new forms of data, and that new form of data is what we call derived data. It's metadata, and it's something that's very unique to Trade Ideas, and it's only offered through this platform. An example of that might be relative volume, which just happens to be one of my favorite filters and data points inside of Trade Ideas. Well, relative volume is just a numerical value that lets you know what kind of volume is happening on a particular stock at a particular time, and it's cumulative through the day, so it knows what's normal volume all throughout the day, and it allows you to identify those unusual moves. That's just one example of our derived data, but I have numerous examples that I'll show you as I'm demonstrating the software to you. In addition, you have the ability to create your own strategies inside of Trade Ideas. You know, Trade Ideas is like a piece of clay. We provide it to you and we give you some examples of what you can do with it, but ultimately you also have the ability to completely shape it and model it yourself to be able to give you the ideas that you'd like a trading assistant, for instance, to be able to deliver to you. You know, if you only want to be looking for pullbacks on 52-week highs, you can have a window just set up to identify that information and deliver it to you. Then we also have a strategy analysis capability, and that's through our event-based backtesting. It's what we call the odds maker, and it allows you to create a strategy and then hypothesize how you would have done had you implemented a set of instructions. Let's say you bought it every time an alert was generated, and then you held it for an hour, and you implemented a stop loss of 50 cents or something like that, and performed that set of instructions on a particular strategy, and it'll let you know how you would have performed had you done that. So it's a very good way to help you build and create and optimize a strategy. Now, there's one thing that Trade Ideas does bring from a beneficial perspective to eSignal that it's never had before, and inside of eSignal, you're limited to a certain number of symbols that you can monitor in a watch list or a portfolio of stocks. But with Trade Ideas, we're watching the entire universe of stocks all the time. So even though you're limited inside of eSignal to a certain number of symbols, Trade Ideas really does enhance that quite a bit by providing you an unlimited opportunity to scan the universe of symbols to deliver just the ideas that you may be looking for. So that's a real core benefit to having Trade Ideas integrated inside of eSignal. So I'm not going to really talk much about this screen right here because I'm going to get into it in the software and show you live. But that's just our channel layout. That's the default layout. And I guess it's probably a good thing to point that, you know, this is offered for a 30-day demo for everybody. So if you haven't had an opportunity to use Trade Ideas, this is a 30-day demo. And if your demo has already expired and you have not had a chance to evaluate it, shoot us an email. And that's either info@trade-ideas.com or my personal email, which is brad@trade-ideas.com, and we can reset that for you and give you that 30 days. But this is a default channel setup that's visible in the default layout, and I'll go over that as we progress through. This here, I'll also kind of keep it in the helicopter and a little high level, but this illustrates the 4 different window types that you have available to you, not only to create yourself, but the 4 different windows that we use in the channels that we've created for you to peruse the different themes of the market. Very briefly, this upper left window set, these are our alert windows. These are the chronologically based, event-based windows where when an event occurs, the top line item will be the most recent event, and you can click on it and take a look and see if that's an actionable event you wanted to partake in. In the upper right, we've got our top list windows, and these are our ranked list of stocks based upon the filtered criteria inside of Trade Ideas. And the 2 examples I have here, one is a real simple kind of vanilla example, biggest gainers, biggest losers. That's this top one. But then you can get kind of creative using our metadata. This is an example of a wide range bar for today using the today's range data point that we create. That's a today's range percentage, which is really a value that's a percentage of what the normal range is. Again, identifying abnormal behavior. Bottom left is a multi-strategy window. I'll get into the detail of that, but suffice it to say it's a window that allows you to group a bunch of different unique strategies into it and really allow you to save on the real estate space. So you don't need to have 20 different alert windows open. Here you can have it all compressed into a single window, color-coded to each particular strategy. And the bottom right-hand is one of our graphical windows that's really a graphical representation of who's winning in the market. We allow 2 different strategies to be inputted in here. I think the basic example is new highs and new lows. So we're able to see at a moment's notice who's really winning. Not so much is the market up or down, but are there more buyers than sellers at this moment in time? So that's a window that's also incorporated in our channels, and you have the ability to create yourself. Finally, with respect to some of the components of Trade Ideas, we have our event-based backtesting tool. This is included in the subscription to Trade Ideas. This right here allows you to create a strategy, and as I was saying earlier, model it and see how you would have done if you would have implemented a set of instructions. And it returns some really good numerical data information, some statistics on the strategy, at the same time allowing you to model in how much you're trading each trade. Is it a dollar value? Is it a share quantity? What's your commission? What's your potential slippage? And then it gives you some great detail with respect to a calendar heat map, how you would have done on any given day, what trades would have been generated, how you've done overall since the inception of the strategy over the last 3 months on a graphical basis. So that's the event-based backtesting, and that's included also in your subscription. So 2 more slides here, and then we'll get right to the demonstration of the software. But this is really the value that you guys as eSignal subscribers are getting. If you were to purchase, and we have thousands of people that do this over 76 different countries that come in and they buy Trade Ideas directly from us, from our website, and they subscribe to it on a monthly basis, and the fee is $99 a month for the software. And to get the odds maker event-based backtesting component, that's a one-time fee of $1,100. So that's what you would be paying if you came directly to us. But the value that you get inside of the eSignal platform is that it's being offered to you for $49.99 a month. So a pretty good discount on what you would pay if you were a direct subscriber. So again, if your trial has run out and you find that you don't have the ability to select this, go right ahead and send us an email and we'll reactivate that for you. All right, so let me go ahead and I think the next slide's demonstration. So let me go ahead and minimize this and bring up what you would be looking at. The difference is, I think by default, the Trade Ideas default opens up in the social media channel. This is set up right here to the Surge channel. And the Surge channel happens to be one of my favorite channels because this is the one that identifies nice price action, good volume moves. And volume is one of the criteria that I look for when I'm entering into a momentum move. And this window here, well, this channel here rather, this is our Surge channel, and it's comprised of 4 different windows. And each of these windows gives us a little bit of interesting data. And oftentimes there's overlap between these different windows. But the idea is to be able to find moves like you see right here on PCI where, you know, you're in this downtrend, and through the use of our volume, being able to identify real strong volume moves, we're able to find moves like this. And this is all done on the Surge channel. So if I scroll back here a little in time and I just kind of go through the different symbols, you know, there's one where it's finding this turnaround that's on huge volume. And if you look at ACP here on the daily chart, so by the way, you know, this is the default layout. Even though this is a different channel that we're looking at, these are still the same other extraneous eSignal windows that we use to complement the data. And looking at an intraday time frame and a daily time frame really helps us spot these different moves in conjunction with having some news events. And we're doing this through the StockTwits implementation, where we can see what people are talking and what they're saying about a particular symbol. But if I just click on a symbol here, I then update the charts in the various windows inside of eSignal. If I had a news window, that would be another one that I'd want linked to it. But you can find these great opportunities in real time throughout the day, and it's a streaming experience. As the stocks are moving and breaking out, these windows are lighting up and they're letting you know that stuff is happening. And let's go to the original channel, the channel that you're familiar with if you've had an opportunity to open up the Trade Ideas window here. And this happens to be our social media channel. And as I said earlier, we're connected directly to the exchanges and to a variety of data sources. Well, we're also connected directly to StockTwits, and that's the organization that broadcasts this data that you see over on the right. And we're connected to that organization. We're taking in that data, and we're creating data off of that, creating metadata, the StockTwits relative activity. So we're taking that StockTwits information and then finding the unusual in that. And we do that through the use of our filtering and our display mechanism. Right here, this is the multi-strategy window that I was talking about earlier. If I was to just right-click in the window, you can see all the different events that we're looking for in this window. And so we've already created that for you, so you don't need to necessarily know how to create a 52-week high or 52-week low window. We have those strategies already inside of here, already turned on. And if you're a curious person and you're really interested in how we do this, like I said, this is a piece of clay that's really meant for you to make your own. You can really open up any of these windows by popping them out. So this is a channel, and I can go through the different channels, but any window can be popped out of a channel. So now I have that social volume radar. Let me close the channel here and show you what we can do with this kind of data and how we manipulate it. If I was to right-click in this window, I could go into configure, and now you could see how we configured this type of window and what the data settings are to do it. And it's rather simple. If you were to go into the filters, you can see that I'm just looking for stocks between 1 and 1,000 with StockTwits relative activity of at least 200%, which is 2 times normal. And all of this can be modified. If you wanted to add additional filters on there and say over the last 5 days, for instance, I want to make sure that stock has at least been trading 250,000 shares on average a day, you can start to add these filters and start to layer the experience. If you want to make this more like your list and you don't trade, let's say, stocks above 100, do that and set that up. And now you've got your custom social volume radar that's specific to the settings that you are looking for. And in our top list window, this is a really interesting, very powerful window because it's not just a watch list. And that's what a lot of people would like in this type of window too. It's really, it's much more than that because it utilizes the filtering capability and the multivariate sorting capability that we offer. And that's a big mouthful, but really what it is If I have this window here of all of the stocks that are being talked about more than normal on social media. So they're all in this window. But then I can manipulate that window further. And right now this window is being sorted on relative volume. So while everything is being talked about more than normal in this window, it's being ranked and ordered on the actual amount of volume it's trading in the market comparing to normal. Then we also get other data points. Is it up or down? And we colorize that so that in this one window, without ever pulling it up on a chart, this KMT, I know this thing is down a tremendous amount today, but it's been trading on huge volume today, and it's being talked about much more than normal. And so I know all of that before even pulling it up on a chart. And I can see here the volume for today. If I'm looking at the daily, it's just huge volume. And it was like that a lot earlier in the day. I'm sure this thing was on this particular window much earlier, maybe even an hour or two into the day, because that's so much bigger than normal. And that's basically telling you it's 10 times more than normal. That's a huge number. And so all of these stocks, if I was to really cycle through them, I'm going to see tremendous volume. This is our intraday look at it. This is the daily look at it. There's your daily volume candle, and this is our intraday volume compared to normal. I mean, it doesn't even register on here. And so this bringing together the unstructured, which is the social data, with the structured data, which is the price data from the NASDAQ and the New York Stock Exchange, allows us to build this type of window. So let me go ahead and let me close it, and let's bring back the channel window, and let's just select any one of the channels here. Let's go to the active trading channel. This is an interesting one because of these two top lists that are down at the bottom. It's a manipulation of our top list in a way where all of these symbols that are coming through this bottom window are all winners for today. These are all strong stocks that are up really significant for the day. In fact, if I look at this, nothing is down or nothing is up less than 3% here. So these are all really nice winners. But I've got this top list window sorted in a fashion that's sorted by telling me which stocks are down the most over the last 30 minutes. So in the middle of the market, this may present itself as a buying opportunity. It's a stock that's still up. Maybe not this one because it was such a big gap up. But if you cycle through, it gives you an opportunity to find these stocks that may be pulling back and giving you a better opportunity to get a price rather than paying up for it as it's breaking out. And so that's a very unique way to take our top list window and use some of the custom data points that change over 30 minutes. I have that on all the different time frames, 5 minutes, 15 minutes. We have change over the week, over the month, over the year. So whether it's a short-term time frame or a longer-term time frame, those data points exist. And then I have another multi-strategy window. This is a multi-strategy window. If I hover over strategies, you can see some of the different events that we're looking for in this active trader channel. Some of my favorite ones happen to be these extreme up moves greater than 3% over 15 minutes. We would call those climactics. And those are really interesting types of windows. Let me scroll down. Earnings is something that we also have as a data point. So we have the earnings date. So we know when a stock has its earnings announcement, and then to combine that fundamental bit of information with price action, I can generate this type of stream of events where a stock may be moving up with earnings yesterday or today or even tomorrow or next week. You have the ability to model those data points in there. And then just a couple top lists. One of my favorite channels happens to be the pre-market. Those top lists kind of reminded me of it, where you come here and you're instantly presented with a list of stocks that are gapping up and gapping down. And then also, if they're moving in the pre-market, they're also going to appear right here in this multi-strategy window. And this is not a very noisy multi-strategy. It's just looking for stocks that are making new pre-market highs and lows, trading with high relative volume, or may have earnings today or yesterday after the close, because that's oftentimes you're going to find a lot of price action, a lot of market movement when it's had that earnings announcement the previous day. So do I have data on the number of trades by time frame? I do not. That's not a data point that we keep inside of the software at this point. And there are a lot of different filters, and probably the best way to familiarize yourself with the different offerings that we have would be to open up an alert window, for instance, go to Configure, and here's a linear list of all of the different alerts that we have, and a linear list of all of the different filters that are available in the software. But there was a question that was asked regarding data on the number of trades by time frame, and that is not available. But one of the filters that we do have in the queue to be added is the number of trades per day, and then a relative value of that, comparing it to normal. So that will be two filters that will be coming into the software in short order. So let me cycle through some of the functionality of the windows as well, because as you're using this, you have the ability to open up multiple containers inside of eSignal. So for instance, we're looking at one container window right here, and these can be popped out just like you can pop out the other windows in this real flexible environment. But you can also go to the eSignal apps and you can open up a second instance of it. Which would allow you to, create a multi-monitor layout, be able to, you could pop this one out or bring it back. But then you could open up a channel window, or you can open up a variety of different strategies. And so let me show you that. This happens to be the welcome screen, which you could open up, right from this drop down here and select welcome. Again, you have the channels that you can load here, but we're going to go to the strategies, and this allows you to see some of the different configurations that we've set specifically for these different window types. So for the alert strategies, I've got neutral, bearish, and bullish alerts. Again, if we just select one of those, we could open up one of the alert windows. So this is an alert window that's looking for stocks that are down big yesterday but up big today. And it's an event window, so if I wanted to run a history and look at just today's data, I can do that, and I can cycle through it. And if I wanted to move this over here and take a look, I think, yeah, there we go. So you can just cycle through it, and you can see on the daily, you had a huge down day, and it's another big up day, and so you're going to get the same type of look every single time. And you can specify, here was a big down day, it's an up day. I don't know if it was a huge up day. Well, I guess it is. 6.8% is pretty big. And so, it's a real simple type of configuration. If you were to look at how we configured the window, you can go into it and you can see exactly how the setting is. Okay, well, the stock needs to be up at least 3% for the day, but yesterday it was down at least 5%. I mean, it doesn't get much simpler than that. And so now we're presented with this real-time stream. Now the stock needs to be making a new high for it to appear as an event inside of this window right here. So that is that's the alert window, and we've got alert windows sporadically mixed throughout the channels, but most likely you're going to find that alert window kind of embedded inside of a multi-strategy window. Those are all various alert strategies that have been created. So let's open up the welcome screen again. And let's go back to the strategies tab. Let's go to the top list strategies, and all these different, the standard stuff that you would expect out of a top list, like being able to see the gainers for today on a dollar or percentage basis. But you can get creative, the week, the month, the year, and then some of the other special data points that we have. What's up the most over the last, say, 15 minutes? That could be an interesting type of top list. What's up the most from the upper pivot? Let's go to ranges right here. So this is where we have other data points, like the daily wide range bar, for instance. This is looking at today's range and comparing it to normal. So that's this custom data point right here. This is basically telling us that AAP has a range, the distance between its low and its high today, that's almost 5 times its normal. And so we pull that up on a chart, and we can see it's just a huge range today. And this was something that lit up, looks like it lit up right in the middle of the market, giving you a nice opportunity. If we make that a 5 minute, let's take a closer look at it, and it did. It traded up that whole way, and that's certainly it's an expensive stock, but that's a great percentage move that occurred at that time. So as you cycle through all these, I already know kind of the flavor of each one of these types of stocks just based upon its range. And it's giving you some relative volume. So this one here, because that's dark, it just stood out to me as something that's super high. And if I bring it up here, KTOV, I mean, this is a stock that IPO'd not too long ago, but that volume today was just a huge move. And, you know, it basically did that, traded up yesterday after the close, continued, kind of bounced around this morning, and then traded down a little bit, but still a huge gainer. And you know, that's the kind of information that you can find using some of these derived data points that we have. So I've gone on about 30 minutes. I'd like to see if maybe there are any questions that anybody has at this time. If not, I was going to go into the odds maker and show you that particular tool. So I'll give you guys a second, and if not, then we'll just move into the next tool. All right, so inside of my cloud, I have a strategy that I saved, and I don't remember the name of it, but I can find it here. So it's buy the unusual down move. I'm just going to highlight it, and I'm going to select load. Now this is a repository that I have. I'm also going to close this channel window because I don't need that. So let's do this here. I'm going to go ahead and load from the cloud, buy the unusual down move. Okay, so now we just have the single strategy in here. Now this strategy is really looking for a stock that's got an unusual move down, and we're looking to buy that. And we're going to basically capitalize on the bounce back. It's a mean reversion strategy, if you will. And so if I right click in that window, any alert window, that's a window with an A in the upper left hand corner, if you select backtest strategy, it then opens up this dialog that allows us to tell it some instructions. And the instructions are already set up in here for this strategy because I've already done it. And it's basically saying don't trade the first 5 minutes of the market. We're going to wait 5 minutes before we initiate a trade. And we're going to stop initiating a trade during the last hour. So we're not going to initiate any new positions during the last hour. And then we're going to say we're going to hold this for 45 minutes. And then we're going to get out after that 45 minutes. And we could specify a time during the day to get out, or even multiple days to get out. And I'm going to put in a dollar stop of 50 cents. So if that stock moves down and just continues to move down for 50 cents, I'm going to get out. And I'm just going to call that one a loss and move on to the next candidate. And then nothing's set up here in advance. There's a reiteration of what I'm looking at. And then if I select Simulate Buy, it's going to go through the last 3 months of data, the last, 65 trading days, and let me know how I would have done had I implemented that exact set of instructions, held it for 45 minutes, and made sure that that stop didn't move against me, or that position didn't move against me more than 50 cents. So it's like 83% of the way through, continuing to crunch, and it's giving me a little bit of a preview as to what this data is going to tell me. And it's going to give me some statistical data, it's going to give me some graphical data, and it's going to give me the ability to look at a calendar and see how I would have performed on any given day, that you can drill down into any day and see which trades you would have made. And then it gives you the ability to optimize it and to really configure it in a manner that kind of gives visibility into the different filters. Like it'll essentially let you know that putting in a relative volume value of 5 and greater is not very good for the strategy. So it's taking a little bit of time on the last mile here, but it should be done shortly. I'd say that, but you know, you never know. So while it's doing that, we can move that down, and let's see here. So this strategy, if I was to go into the configure side of it, you can see exactly the different filters that are set up. Probably the easiest way is the summary here. And if I make it a little bit bigger, we can see the different filters that exist in this strategy. And so it's not only looking for that unusual down move, but there's some other pretty specific constraints that exist from a price perspective, dollar volume, the stock to its average activity, the range on different time frames. So we got the 120 minute, the 30 minute, the 2 minute. They all have certain specifications. I bet it stopped while I was doing that, so that didn't help us one bit. Let me also see if I can bring in a compare count window while this is working. And the compare count, let's get into to that just a little bit. On the configuration side, the green data is really just looking for new high events. And the red data is really just looking for new low events. And so post-market as well. So that's coming through here. As I hit OK, it restarted, but now I can see the symbols that are making those new lows, and if it's giving me that graphical representation by comparing the bears to the bulls, where you can really see, is this a good time to be buying stock? Is this a good time to be selling stock? Where's really the pressure in the market right now? And like I said earlier, it's not so much about whether the market's up or down, because if you've ever been in the market and seen what a V bottom looks like, and the opportunity that presents itself when that exists, I mean, it becomes pretty clear that you could have a market that's down pretty significant, but as the buying pressure really starts to take over, those do become some nice buying opportunities. So it looks like the odds maker finished, and now I'm presented with this data. So let me explain a little bit about what we see right here. So a profit factor, this is really the sum total of all the winning trades over the sum total of all the losing trades. So a profit factor of 3.48, that's a really good value. During that sample set, during that 3-month period, there were 329 trades that took place, signals, if you will, that would have been generated through that alert window. And 63.5% of those were winners in this strategy. This is a good metric right here, the average winner to loser ratio, a factor of 2 to 1. That's good, and that's what you want to see. And then it gives you your strategy return. Here you can hypothesize, am I trading share quantity, or maybe I'm going to trade, say, dollars, and I'll trade $5,000. And that's what that equity curve would then look like based upon that. The commission value, you can change that. If you wanted to put slippage in there, you could put that in. And so you're modeling your top line. The second line includes commission. The bottom line includes commission and slippage. So if I started with $50,000 over the course of this time period, implementing this strategy right here to a T, then my account would be right about 64,000. So that's a 14,000 increase, and that includes the modeling of the commissions and slippage in the strategy. So that's included in the subscription as well. Gives you the ability to really go in and select this optimization area. This is where we're looking at all the different price intervals between 10 and 90, broken down into $10 intervals, and I can see, what's the profit factor, what's the win percentage, what's my average winner, what's my total winner that I had in that segment between $10 and $20. If I wanted to break that into, say, $5 intervals, I could do that, and I can see, that 10 and 15, how'd that work out, 15 to 20. But we do that on time of day, how successful were you? Let's break this into 30-minute intervals. And how successful was I during the first 30, second 30? What was my profit factor? Did it get worse as time went on? That's the kind of feedback that it gives you. And then the other area allows you to, based upon the columns that you have on your window, you can then optimize those columns. So I have relative volume, for instance. If I drop this down and go to relative volume and make the interval, say, 1, I can see how did this strategy perform with relative volume between all of these different values. And then I could say, it looks like, well, I don't want to make any analysis right here. Let me group this into 10 and see if it becomes a little clearer. I think I'd still probably keep everything the way that it is. I don't think relative volume is going to affect this strategy too much, but this is the kind of feedback that it'll give you. Change 1 minute. Maybe that stock should not be, down 1% or less over that minute. I'm not doing very well. I'm only winning 50% of the time, but my average winner was only 15. I mean, there are only 6 trades here, so I'm not professing that you do that. but it breaks down those different filters onto the different values, and the feedback allows you to determine what's a good filter setting, or should I even include that filter in the strategy. So folks, my presentation pretty much is wrapped up with that. I'm prepared to take any questions that you may have. You would open up Trade Ideas. If you don't have the Trade Ideas default tab down at the bottom, you can open it right from the eSignals app, Trade Ideas. The Trade Ideas trial is going to let you know how many days left are available. I think this one here says I have one day left, but you can activate it right from here. If you have any questions, again, my email address is brad, B-R-A-D, at trade-ideas.com. It's also info, I-N-F-O, at trade-ideas.com. So if you have any questions, we'd be more than happy to answer those for you. And there will be a replay of this webinar. If something may have, maybe you had to step out and you weren't able to catch it all, there'll be a replay available. So I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your busy day to spend it with me and allow me the opportunity to show you Trade Ideas. And it's a tool that I've been working with for the last 13 years, and it's funny because eSignal was also one of the tools that I was working with long before even I was working with Trade Ideas. So really happy to have the two brought together. I'm a big fan of the charting technology inside of eSignal. So the two together, to me, make a really, really nice combination and a good tool set in helping you make money throughout the trading day. So thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon.